This is Jason at Raid again with Joseph G. Cruz, who curated the show that's at Raid right now, Stretching Destillment. And it's all Chicago artists. And so just straight up tell us right about this work right here that we're standing right in front of right now. Then tell us, first off, who's the name of the artist here?
It's Sarah and Joseph Belknap.
Yeah.
They've actually been remodeling a home, and I think that's kind of a starting point for this work. But I think in regards to the context of the show, it references the architecture, the space. It references the wall behind it, these laths, and the wool that's actually dyed the same pigment of the insulation.
Right.
So these are kind of aestheticizing the basic context of the structure of the space itself. And this is an old building too, so this would actually historically be what is built behind the drywall, sheetrock.
Groovy. And they're a duo, right? I mean, they're a pair of artists, right?
Yeah. They're a married couple. They work together very, very often. Not all their work, but the majority of their work is collaborative.
Groovy. I mean, that's interesting. It's really you said they're building a house or remodeling a house together, right? So the fact that they've kind of turned these little sort of minimalist sculptures making reference to that thing. That's pretty interesting. It's sort of like the personal in these sort of little public objects.
Yeah, I mean, their work is very diverse, very strong work, a lot of kind of performative mixed with like objects, and I think this does not sum up the Belknaps by any means, but this is, I think I particularly wanted this work in the show in context to it because of that, of like I said, with in regards to the architecture. Yeah, I think it is interesting. I mean, I think there is a personal history involved with that, and and when they kind of talk about their kind of project statement, they definitely kind of, reference that as well.
Yeah, I mean that's like something couples do. They build homes together, like in a very sort of metaphoric sense. So it's pretty representative of that. Pretty groovy. All right, Joseph, what is going on here?
Well, this is Repurpose. It's a collaborative project between Carla Duarte, Lee Rousset, and Amber Ginsberg.
Okay.
And what they've done is it's a second rendition of a larger project they had done at the MCA in Chicago, where they made 744 of these multiples, as they call them, which is this section right here.
Yeah.
And what they've done is they've gone to like thrift stores and gathered wool sweaters and pulling out all the wool and actually like kind of reweaved it into like rope and then reweaved it into these sort of bricks. And they work a lot through materials and process with that. And so the wool itself has certain properties where it actually holds moisture, and it actually can, if treated properly, is actually a great way to grow plants and whatnot. Huh. In this particular situation, they've got wheatgrass growing, and so the audience is invited, throughout the show to come through and water them, drop them, dip them down, obviously, and these. And so this was actually we've actually spoke much about the sound and how they wanted the body, the presence of the viewer to activate it. These were just watered on Wednesday. So
very fast.
Very, very fast. You can see it on this one here already. Yeah. That one and this one over there will probably be sprouting like that. Tomorrow afternoon will be coming through, and eventually the root system here will actually curl around the bricks. Yeah, and they've got it. They're referencing also with the structure, kind of alchemy, and this kind of like sublimative process.
So how does this fit into like your sort of curatorial concept with the show as a whole?
Well, there's a general, a subtle, like repurposing of sort of like everyday items, and it's a very interesting way of doing that. But also, there's this sort of kind of like sublimation going on with repurposing it, and kind of finding this. That's how the show is.
We'll get to that one. You were saying.
Yeah. So generally, the repurposing of it. is a major aspect. The body's presence, activating it, activating this life. That's kind of coming throughout the process of the show.
And we're back. Joseph G. Cruz. This piece has been demanding our attention the whole time we've been talking. Who made this? What's going on here?
This is the Cinnamon Machine by Chris Bradley, and it's pretty straightforward. We got a lot of cinnamon right here, cinnamon sticks, and a commercial sandblaster that is actually got it set up with a basketball around it and a motion detector, which is activated by when someone walks by, and he's got an Arduino, a microcontroller, so that once the motion detector goes off, the Arduino is activated, and then 7 minutes later, the cinnamon machine goes off, and then it's activated for 7 minutes, and then what the sandblaster sands the cinnamon down, and so this beautiful cinnamon like kind of fall smell, kind of like circumvents the room. And then there's this, subtle, ephemeral, like kind of like debris that kind of floats around there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, with what we've been talking about with all the other works, I mean, like making these miniature ecosystems, little environments, and then that are part of this whole larger environment of the whole show. I mean, this actually has a very physical, almost phenomenological, it has sense, it has like sounds, it's like, it feels like a living, breathing thing, it smells, it makes noise, so it sort of fits into what we've been talking about here. Speak to that.
Well, I think definitely in the sense of the sort of like ecosystem, John's piece is activated by this piece, so that's a direct situation where there's a dependency upon that. Yeah.
What, like I said, this is all Chicago artists. I mean, what, being from Chicago and all these artists from Chicago, you're here in LA. How would you describe, if you think there's any Chicago-ness to what's going on at Raid right now?
Well, a lot of these artists are very young and emerging artists.
Right.
Most of them are actually recent grads from the MFA program at the School of the Art in Chicago. So in a sense, it's literally what's going on right now, and there's a very exciting work. I think the work is very diverse in a sense. This by no means represents Chicago as a whole, but I think it does point to certain directions of what's going on. Chris is very fun, playful. I mentioned before, kind of like subtle kind of blue collar reference. Kind of does that, but it also I think it places itself in Chicago. Doesn't have a large like market. The art. From what I'm understanding, what I'm finding in Chicago, I've only been there for 4.5 years, is that there's a lot of experimenting going on. There's a tremendous amount of alternative spaces. So people have a lot of room to play and experiment. I think this is something that may not be, super highly likely for someone to hang over their couch. And so in a sense, I think this piece, that playfulness of it, and it's gets loud and it gets in the way and it moves around and it's definitely kind of in your face a little bit.
Chicago has a large market for ideas, and it's like, I think you guys are representing really well. I mean, I don't mean being representative, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of the quality and the high concept of the whole show at large. I mean, if this is what's going on in Chicago, it makes me want to go to Chicago and see what else is going on. So
amazing things.
So nice job, Joseph G. Cruz.
And very, very amazing people.
All right. And we're back with Joseph G. Cruz at Stretching Distillment at Ray Projects. So we're talking about this whole ecosystem of artworks that we have going on here, and here's another living, breathing example of one. Who made this, and what is going on here, Joseph?
This is John Bromit's work, and it's actually a part of a larger project that he's been doing from the Monsanto workshop. And he's been thinking a lot about Monsanto, and so it's a pretty basic situation here. We got bags. We got a fan back here that is actually activated by another piece of work, Chris Bradley's piece. So that this piece is actually parasitic in a sense.
Yeah.
And so what happens is if you what happens is Chris goes off,
Yeah.
activates this, goes off. And it's the motion detector set at such a sensitivity where this just the subtle movements of Chris's piece turns it off and on, so it sort of breathes in a sense, kind of expanding, contracting, and then there's the Raid Projects, which you actually don't know yet, is going to receive a letter from this piece to the Cinnamon Machine in the beginning stages of litigation, because his piece is going to sue Christopher Bradley's piece because the cinnamon particles that get inside of his corn is affecting his corn.
Wow, do they have good lawyers?
Well, Monsanto's got a hell of a
Yes, they do. I checked the mail, so I'll be looking for that.
So yeah,